Welcome back to the channel, everybody. If you like what you see and hear, hit like and subscribe. A day in the life, working behind the badge, behind the blue line, as I call it. This next story is something that happened maybe 2005. The state, which is North Carolina, decided to close down one of their mental health facilities, which was Dorothy Dix. And what happened was the patients were scattered around all the small towns that had rest homes. Now, rest homes supposed to be for the older elderly folks that need assisted living. That's what it's for. Then it started changing to that mixed with the state's mental patients. Anyway, I was working one day and they give me a call saying, "There's a strange guy walking up and down the road hauling a tree." I said, "What?" I didn't think nothing about it. So I went to the location. I located the guy. And this dude was big as Hulk Hogan. And they told me that he was from one of the local rest homes. He was a resident. So here's my thinking. If you've got a guy that's from a mental facility, possibly a danger to himself or others, why you let him go in and out all day? And this certain home would allow the residents to come and go. And of course, they'd go out and visit all the dope dealers and get doped up and then come back. But they knew when lunch and supper time was. But this particular guy, he was an okay guy. He didn't hurt anybody. I mean, he just... And, the small towns always have their one crazy dude, But he was built like Hulk Hogan, 6'5" maybe. And he had found him a tree, a piece of a tree, looked like a pine tree. And he took another piece of tree and made him a cross and tied it with rope. And he got it on his shoulder and he's walking right down the sidewalk. Now he ain't bothering anybody, but the people driving by, and he happened to walk by the bank and the post office, and they're ringing the police department's phone off to, "Hey man, you got some crazy guy out there." Ain't nothing against the law about walking down the road. I try to tell people, you see somebody walking down the road, you might think it's suspicious. They ain't doing nothing wrong until they do something wrong. Then you call the police. But you've got folks out there that think we're automatically supposed to go out there and snatch them up. What law did they break? This dude wasn't breaking any law. So I talked to him and said, "Buddy, what's happening, man?" I said, "What you doing with the tree? If it's any of my business, I mean, you ain't doing no." He said, "Jesus Christ bared his cross, and I'm going to bear mine." I said, "Okay, bud, there ain't nothing wrong with that." So I let the dispatcher know. I said, "He ain't doing nothing wrong." So he gets to walking right back down the road, and he's carrying that cross. All day long, he carried that cross till about supper time. Then he went on in, So I never really had any more trouble with him. He was just a patient that was put at that home, As long as they paid him money for his bed, they gonna keep him. And there was a lot of them like that, So we had one time that this is I'll get you. This is the one we call the Real Medea, Okay. Once again, these rest homes house these people to get that monthly check, so they can rent that room. That's all they care about. A person that's dangerous to the self and to others, why you let them roam free. But it becomes a law enforcement problem. Everything becomes a law enforcement problem. First thing they do when they start having fits is they go take out what we call an involuntary commitment order when they're having a fit, so they can get their money, and they're not getting their money. First every month they would run and do this. And you take them to the hospital, the psychiatrist say, "What's wrong with him?" Heck, I don't know. I'm not his caretaker, man. The rest home should be over there babysitting this person and sitting at the hospital with him and all that. And the psychiatrist said, there ain't nothing wrong with him, take him back. That takes the officer off the road for hours at a time just to go do this stuff. Why don't these homes have a psychiatrist on staff? These homes are not even prepared or trained or anything to deal with these type of individuals. But anyway, Madea. She was female, about 6'5", big. Always wore a bonnet on her head and everything. Her thing was that she would sneak out of the home, walk all the way down the food line, try to she would fill a grocery cart full of groceries and head out the door with it. When they tried to stop her, she ended up beating the devil out of them. And she did the same thing Piggy Wig. Oh well, so they called Popo, so we go down there. We talked to her. We find out. See, we didn't know who she was at first, and then we found out she was a resident of the rest home. She had an indentation on her forehead where she'd been hit or shot or something. And you can tell, mentally she was slow. But, there again, somebody dangerous, where's your caretaker at? We finally get her back to the home, and she done this 2 or 3 times. Same thing, trying to head out the door with groceries. And I don't even think she really knew what town she was in or coherency. Sometimes she couldn't tell you her name, but she looked like the real Madea, and that's what we called her. And we could always get her back to the home, by going to McDonald's and getting her a meal and giving it to her and saying, come on back. And that's how you have to deal with these people. You can't just rush up to them and try to manhandle them because you're going to get hurt. But that's why I say the state facility shuts down and scatters all these people to the rest homes in these small towns is like a magnet. I think the town I worked for had 3 at that time, big rest homes. And once again, they're supposed to be for elderly. No, they end up being the wards of the darn state and sending all the mental patients to these places, and they just wreak havoc on the elderly residents that live there. I mean, terrorize them all the time. So, once again, stories are behind the blue line. But anyway, I do music now that I'm retired. I do country music. Look it up on YouTube, Brian K. Walker. I just released a song yesterday, Good Old Boys Like Us. You can catch it on Spotify, iTunes. Check it out and give it a spin. I also have a YouTube channel, Blazing Brian Guitar, where I teach guitar. So, that being in mind, hey, y'all have a good one. If you like what you see and hear, hit like and subscribe. I'll see you on the next one.